Welcome to a new episode of Open Talk podcast by Sport React. As you can hear, this one is on English because we have a special honor and privilege to interview a strength and conditioning coach from France basketball team Asvel, as well strength and conditioning coach of the national team of France, men's basketball as well, coach Manuel Lacroix. Manuel, if your surname is not good pronounced, let me know. But for a Croatian guy, it's a bit challenging.
It's okay.
How are you doing?
I'm okay. A little bit tired because we have a amazing loss yesterday night.
I saw, unfortunately, yeah.
So, but it's part of the job, so it's okay.
Okay. I know that you have some work to do. I have some work to do as well. We are a bit on a time limit, so I would like to go straight to the topics.
Let's go.
Okay, so as I mentioned, you are a strength and conditioning coach for Asvel and national team. What would be the biggest difference in the job? So in the methods of recovery, travel schedule, and just the programming of the gym stuff and on-court stuff.
First, for the recovery methods, for me, recovery is more about education, more than methods, because the basics is the way you eat, the way you sleep, and you have all methods you want, or all tools you want, all money you want. If you don't have this kind of basics, you're dead and play dead. So it's more about education. So the difference between Asvel and national team around these topics about methods of recovery, it's about time. Because in Asvel, I got 1 year, 1 season, I got long pre-season to educate, to give a process for the recovery. In national team, you don't have a lot of time because you have a short season and you have immediately amazing goals because you have to perform in the first day or the first for the competition. So you don't have time for this. But in national team, you have experienced player, so it's easier. Normally, they are all in a good process for the recovery methods. Of course, when we spoke about recovery, we spoke about the way you manage. So I'm a big lover, I'm a big fan of the lifting the day after the game. So the day plus. I'm a big fan of this, or 20-30 minutes lifting on special things. I love to have short lifting after the game, immediately. We can use, for example, blood flow restriction after the game with a bag or body weight squat, something like this. So I'm a fan of active recovery. And of course, I work a lot around nutrition, what you can take, what you can eat immediately after the game, for the 30 minutes windows after the game. That's the first topic about recovery. And in general, the big difference between the national team and Asvel. So, of course, you have time, as I explained just before. But our job is coach dependent. So the way the coach think, the way the coach train, the way the coach want to manage player, you dependent about this. So of course, the big difference is the coach between the boss team because it's two way to practice, two different way to practice, two different way to manage, to organize the time. So you have your ideas, but you have to adapt to the coach. So that's the main difference.
When it comes to travel schedule, is it as in EuroLeague? I know that you travel a lot. When it comes to national team, you get to one place and then you are there. But sometimes you have the time zone difference. How do you manage that? Do you get a lot earlier there or prior to the tournament? How does that look?
I want to, but you can't decide everything. So in Asvel, we did some meeting, or I can explain, or I can ask maybe what I want for the travel. So maybe I prefer to travel in afternoon, or maybe later in the day. Depend of the schedule, where we are, how is the team. So we can do something about this. With France, it's close to be the same. But what I like what I love when we travel and you have a lot of jet lag is to come and to have like a cheat day. This kind of cheat day, you come, you go in a lifting room, you do some weight, you go on the court, but without opposition, without intensity, just to sweat a little bit. After you can have a long stretch and everything, work with the physio, and the day after you can start to work with the team. So for me, if you have a competition, maybe sometime we start with a friendly game. For example, this year in Japan, we start with a friendly game. I love to arrive 3 days before in the country to have the cheat day and 2 days before the first friendly game.
I get it. Okay. Do you work every other day? Do you work every day in the gym? Do you use microdosing, or how does your program look in both situations, national team and Asvel?
In the both situation, we don't have a lot of time because we play game, we travel. So of course, I work with like a microdosing. So I want really specific. When I mean specific, it's not around basketball, but specific around the player, what they need to do, and with a short work like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Okay, sometimes we can go to 45 minutes, but it's a lot. Or maybe we can do 20 minutes before, 20 minutes after practice. So it's 40 minutes work on strengths, on a specific goals. But everything is around microdosing.
Post-game lifts you do as well, or?
Yeah. For the game, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah. We can do this. Of course, you need to have players that usually do this, because if you change the routine of the player, it can be a disaster. But you can manage this to introduce this with young player day after day, week after week. For me, if you work for the strengths, I love to work with high-level strength athletes just before the game. So for the game, I think it's more efficient. For the players that a little bit weak for the strengths, or more like a profile like endurance players, they love to run, they can run a lot, but there's not a lot of strength quality. More efficient for me to do in the morning of the game.
Okay.
That's my point of view.
Okay. And the guys that don't play too much, do you try to give them the intensity right after the game, or do you wait for the next day or something?
Depend on the possibility, depend on the mood of the player, but I prefer to do immediately after the game, because the day after you can put the player in the same way than the team. So I think it's good. But sometimes you can't, because sometimes you travel, so maybe you have a private flight after, so you have to go quick on the plane and leave, so you can't work. Or maybe sometimes when you have some player really disappointed, it's difficult to come to see the player to say, okay, we go in a white room right now.
Yeah.
Difficult. You have to manage the psychology.
Nice. Okay. Thank you very much. We closed the topic number 1 with that. The second one that I wanted to go in is knee tendinopathy, jumper's knee, something that is very often in basketball. Actually, around 30%. It's jumper's knee when it comes to injuries with basketball players. A lot of jumps, a lot of change of directions. How do you manage that? Do you have a prehab, rehab routine? What do you do with the guys?
So the first question is, okay, you get tendinopathy. Is it chronic or acute? This is the first question you have to answer, because if it's acute, it's because maybe something changed. So you have to understand what changed. Maybe it can be the shoes, maybe it can the way you train, maybe it can be the alimentation. You don't know. So you have to understand immediately if it's acute or chronic. If it's chronic, you have to manage. You have to manage and you have to work. Rest is not good for tendinopathy, but you have to work on this. So first, walk around the knee, around the quad, okay, with a lot of isometric exercises. It can be yielding isometric, it can be with split squat, it can be with leg extension. You can find a way to find an isometric solution. But you have to think a lot that it's a complex problem. So maybe you can resolve this with stronger glutes. So you have to work on the glutes too, on the hips, because if you're stronger in this part of your body, you will help your knee and your quad to run, to jump, and to absorb every shot. So maybe it can be the solution. You can work around hamstring because sometimes it's a disbalance between quad and hamstring. So you have to think about this too and do some evaluation. You have to work around ankle because the if you have active ankle where you want is good, but when you have passive ankle and you are all the time on the forefoot when you run like this, you put a lot of constraints on the knee and you increase the pain, you increase the inflammation on the tendon. So if you work on an ankle too, mobility and the way, so more active ankle, so use ankle to walk, to jump, to sprint, to run, it will be more efficient. So that's the way we can work. Of course, we know that we can use eccentric load, but this is theory. And with my experience, you have isometric work, you have EV isometric work, you have eccentric, but sometimes something doesn't work with one player and sometimes it works with another one. So you have to try to test. You have to ask the player, so every day to give numbers, like a pain score, and to understand, okay, if I did, for example, yesterday, EV eccentric with this guy, the day after, he increased the pain or he decreased the pain. If he decreased the pain, okay, I have maybe the solution to manage and to work on this tendinopathy and to do this before the game, for example. It can be an idea. So you have to manage this. After, the global aspect is the load management. When we have chronic tendinopathy, we try to manage players, so no rest, but maybe sometimes to avoid to do some drills because, as you said, it's because of a lot of mechanics load, so change direction, deceleration. So maybe you can put the guy a little bit on the side during the practice and to gain maybe 10 or 15 minutes of drill, or you have a lot of change direction and everything, and to try to manage the load generally.
Okay. Did you ever have a situation where you couldn't help the player? Everything you tried didn't work?
Yeah, for sure. It happened a lot.
What do you do in that situation?
You try new thing, you try to change the method, you try to work, close to the physio to manage the pain. But okay, after you have to understand that at its level, high level player, maybe 50% of the player play with pain.
Yeah.
That's the way in NBA, in EuroLeague, you have a lot of games. So sometimes you don't have the solution to help the player. So you have to help him to deal with it. So,
Yeah.
but you don't find a solution.
In your experience, is it more common in younger players or a little bit older ones, vets, let's say, to have the jumper's knee?
For this kind of pain?
Yeah.
Both.
Both? Same?
Yeah, because for me, the young players now have a lot of games, a lot of international competition, a lot of practices. So sometimes you got players at 18, 19 years old, and they got this kind of problem with fatigue, with knee fatigue. Maybe sometimes it's easier with veterans because they know perfectly the body, the way they train, the good routine. They know when they start to have some pain to decrease a little bit the way they train. So maybe it's sometimes easier with veterans.
Yeah, I understand. Okay, stability is something that we need as well in basketball. Joint stability, full body stability. How do you incorporate that in your training with the players? Do you do that in preparation for practice or game variation? Do you do a separate training session in the gym with them? What's your approach with that?
It's a daily walk. So the daily walk, it can be in a weight room. Sometimes I can introduce some drill during the warm-up because you have to know that if the coach gives you 15, 20 minutes before every practice, you have to use it, of course, to prepare player, but maybe to work on some details. So stability can be a details. You can work with the player during the warm-up. And for me, the stability is about strength, because strength is basic for stability, around agility, where you change direction, the way you land on the floor, the way you move your foot, your feet is the way you're stable, and about core. And the idea, for me, more stable you are, more efficient you are on the way you run and the way you jump. So core can improve performance because you improve for example, the economy, the efficiency of the step, the efficiency of the running skills, just because you're stable. So for me, it's a really key work, and you have to work every day.
Okay. Do you approach individually players when it comes to that, or do you try to do everything with everybody?
I'm more with an individual approach. Both, I work with the team, so sometimes it's good to have a teamwork. But I'm more individual approach because, of course, you have different levels. So if we spoke about core training, you have some players that are big guys, tall guys, they need maybe easy core training, but you have some guards really strong. You have to find some other exercise more difficult. So okay, I love to individualize, but you have to find the way sometimes on the court to work with the team on a simple exercise.
Okay, I understand. We mentioned a few times the pre-game routines and stuff. What's your routine that you like to have before the game? Is it to come there an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours before to prepare everything, to do individual work with some players? How does that look for you?
Me at home, I'm in the gym maybe 3 hours before the game to prepare everything. The first players start to warm up at maybe 2 hours before the game, and I organize everything. So for me, the pre-game routine it's a lot of mental. So first you have to understand and you have to discuss with players before the season to know what they want to do, what they love to do, what they used to do, to feel comfortable in their mind. That's the first goal. After, if you think it's not the good approach or you want to add something, you have to talk with the player and to add some little details during this. But for me, the first is a lot of mental approach and the mental focus. So I love to have the first part of the warm-up is really individual. So same for the basketball groups. We have basketball groups with basketball individual trainer. And same for the physical part. So all the players came on the court and got special routine. It's nothing, with the team. And after we would start the team warm-up, we can do some athletic skills like a team, but just before everything is individual.
Okay. What would you say that's the most important part outside of the mental thing? So just when it comes to physical for every player pre-game, because we know that there's a lot of players who get bored in those pre-game stuff, how to approach them that it's important and that they have to do it.
I really have no problem with this because my point of view is when it's individual routine, the player gets a lot of motivation to do it.
Okay.
I think the most difficult part is the moment you go on the court and you start the team warm up. At this time, you can feel, like you said, the player maybe with less motivation, and of course you have to give some affective feedback, to get more intensity, or maybe to stop the player to discuss and to explain that you have to warm up. I got this problem for example during we got a bad summer with national team, and at the end of the first one we have to play some game for rankings, and of course the motivation was at zero, I think.
Yeah,
really difficulty to came and to be really focused during the warm-up. I remember that I talked with a lot of players to explain, okay, I know you don't have motivation, I understand everything, we are disappointed, it's a sad moment, it's a difficult moment, but if you're not focused, if you don't give intensity during the warm-up, you can maybe get some injury, and it will be a problem for you. And we can avoid this that with a focus, with an intense warm-up, and you stay focused on this.
I understand.
That's an example.
Yeah, we mentioned pre-game lifts prior, and I just remembered to ask you, do you do it, let's say, 45 minutes in one session, or do you spare it like in 2 or 3 sessions in the day? Let's say if you have a game at 8 p.m. that you do one session, I don't know, at 10, then the other one at 2, 4, something like that, or you just do at once for 45, 50 minutes, something like that?
For the pre-game lifting?
Pre-game, yeah.
Yeah, you have 2 moments. The first moment is before the shooting.
Okay.
So if we shoot at 10, maybe the player came at 9:30 and then can run 9:30 to 10. That's the first part. If you have a coach that let some freedom during the shooting, so for example, maybe the last 20 minutes is completely free. Maybe you can have some players that come to you to have a little lifting session. So it can be also a window. And the other part is we start the warm-up 2 hours before the game. So the player came in the weight room 2 hours before the game, or maybe 1 hour, 30 minutes before the game, and they did the routine lifting.
I understand. From what I know, you worked in Asvel with Victor as well, yeah? I won't try to say his surname because that won't sound good. For his size, what can be a problem for his career when it comes to, let's say, injuries or something like that? Ankles, joints.
Yeah, but he is not like a normal big guy.
Yeah, I saw his flexibility is crazy.
He got a lot. Yeah, he's flexible. He got some strength. It's amazing. So I'm not sure we'll have some big problem with this. It was a problem, but I think it was a problem because he was young. So when you're young, you keep growing up, so you can have some big problem around the hips or maybe the bone. It was difficulty we got when we was in Asvel. So, but now, okay, of course, like a big guy, you have long arm, long foot, so you put a lot of contraction joint. So maybe it can be this kind of overload can be a problem with the time. But like I said, he's flexible, he got some strengths, he got good balance, he got some strengths. So I'm not sure he got some problem like other big guy.
Okay. Now I would like to get to the part of education. If you can give us some short background. Where did you study? What did you study? How did that look for you in your career?
I was studying in Dijon, University of Dijon. We had a famous name over there. It was Gilles Cometti, with a famous center. So that's why my point. I worked for him after. So I was there. But after, if to give some advice.
Yeah, for sure.
So for me first, as a coach, you have to be really open of the first of the period. So you have to read, for example, Berkoshansky, Matveyev. They work in 1965 or 1970 of periodization work or training load and everything. So you have to read this. In the same way, you have to read some modern book that we know about functional training and everything that we know today. But for me, you have to have an organization. The way I work, the way I keep learning is to have thematic. So for example, I want to work about sleepiness. Okay, I will find maybe a book about sleepiness, but I will go on PubMed to find a lot of articles about sleepiness, performance, sleepiness, recovery, and I want to work during 1 month, 1 month and a half on one thematic. Okay. Next step, I will find another thematic, and I think this is the way I try to increase my knowledge year after year to know, okay, sleepiness, to know recovery, to know strengths. And I'm not close about the period because, now we said, okay, before it was bullshit, now it's better, we have more knowledge. No, I think it's not good. You have to be open at everything what's happened before. And that's why I explained that Verkoshansky, Matveyev, for me, that's a good name to learn about the way they trained before, and we got some good ideas. And the other part, you don't have to forget that it's a human job, because every time you are in a relationship with player, with coaching staff, with colleague, with physio, so you have to talk, you have to explain, you have to share moments. So that's why my advice is to read book, but maybe sometimes with other thematics than strength and conditioning coach. So can be philosophy, history, I don't know, life wellness, I don't know, but to be a better human, or maybe to be a better human understanding after, to to be really close to the player, to talk to them, to understand better that problem in your life and everything, to after that good sharing.
What would be your thought on formal education when it comes to getting a job? Is it like a must, having some type of degree, or do you think that with self-education, books, mentors, courses, and similar stuff, experience as well, and just the characteristics that you have as a human being can have a little bit even an edge on a formal education part? What's your thought on that?
I think it's both, because the formal education can learn, the basics, maybe give you some structure about everything. But if you limit your knowledge to this, of course, you're not good. I think you have to have a self-education, as you said. You have to be curious. You have to understand, even if you start to work, even if you have experience, you can learn every day, every year. So me, I want to learn maybe the next 10 or 15 years. I want to keep learning. I want to keep learning something, maybe to change the way I work. So I think it's good balance between the both.
Okay, it's a good answer, a true one.
It's quite a good answer.
Yeah, that's for sure. I'm curious to know what's your why for this job. What keeps you going? What motivates you to go back every day and give your all to all the players, to the organization? Because as we know, it's a job with a lot of sacrifice. You miss a lot of family time, a lot of birthdays and everything. So what motivates you?
I think it's a funny job, because for the moment, if you ask me, I don't I don't think I'm working. I will go to the practice, but for me, it's fun. Even if it's a difficult period, even if I'm tired, it's fun, because okay, they give me money to practice player. Okay, I'm a happy guy. So I got this motivation, and of course, what is fun is also is to have a lot of challenge. Every year, every season, every week, it's another challenge. Challenge is win game, win titles, but of course, every time it's a new challenge, because you have new player, you have new problems, you have to resolve, you have to organize with a new player, with new coach. So every time it's challenge. So challenge gets you motivation every day.
Good one. What's the What's the, let's say, worst part about the job? Is it that sometimes you get somewhere in a hotel or something and you don't know what will you have out of equipment or something similar? What's the challenging in that way about the job?
No, for me it's okay. The adaptation is the part of the challenging me. So I love this. Sometimes you have big problem, you can't practice as you want, you have to find a way to work with player. Okay, it's fun, it's a challenge. The worst part is results, because results can really decrease motivation of the player, can decrease your motivation, can decrease the confidence in a staff, and it's really difficult. And sometimes even if you work good, you can have bad results, because sometimes you work bad and you have good result too. So it's the part of the job where it's difficult, because it's got good and bad impact on you, and sometimes you don't know what you have to do. You just have to wait to wait, and to stay focused and keep working, on what you did before and stay focused. And so the negative results are the worst part in the job, and everybody know this part. It's difficult to win all the time. So
Yeah, that's true. Definitely.
during the year or during the career, so that'll work.
This year, as a national team, you had a pretty hard World Cup.
True.
At the beginning, you already know that you won't pass through the next stage, but you still had few games to play. How did you stay mentally there on the tournament after the bad result, let's say? Because for France, usually, me as a basketball fan, I expect France like in quarterfinals or semifinals, so I was pretty surprised. So how was the energy in the team?
It was really difficult because, as you said, everybody expects us a big performance, and our preparation was good. So of course we got some easy game. So maybe that was the mistake. Nobody can expect what will happen at this time. So after me, I try to stay focused and I try to stay close to the player. Because after the last game against Lithuania, we have four more games or 3 more games. So maybe we have 7 more days to spend together in Jakarta. So my way to say to the player, okay, now it's over, we know, but we can keep working to prepare your season. That's the goal and the objective we get. And okay, sometimes the player said to me, get 4 or 5 players said to me, okay, let me one day I don't want to do nothing because I can't. But the day after, okay, we start to work on the next preseason and on my next season.
Okay, so you found a way to still motivate them. That's amazing.
Yeah, and with individual goals, because we don't have team goals.
Yeah,
Individual goals can help the player to find the motivation.
I understand. What would be your, let's say, top 3 courses to buy and books to read in both situations? What would you suggest to young coaches to find for self-education when it comes to basketball strength and conditioning?
You speak about education?
Yeah, courses to buy, so online courses or I don't know, summits like it was this summer in Prague, and books. What would be your top 3?
Yeah, I have a really good feeling with what we do with EuroLeague Association. Every time it's you have good speakers and you have amazing mood because everybody is here to exchange, and you learn a lot with the way you meet people. For me, you learn more than meet people. Okay, to find a way. For example, after the first day, I will go to a restaurant with 3 other strength and conditioning coach for the other country. We exchange during 2 hours in restaurant. It's fun moment, and this time you learn a lot about each other. So really, if I have an advice to, it's this kind of summit.
Okay.
And some books?
I don't have really some books because as I said, I'm really open to read a lot of books, and I don't believe in Bible, you know.
Okay.
So I don't have really some books to say, okay, you have to read this because if you don't read this, you can't work well. No, just about thematic for me.
Okay.
And for me, you have to put on a paper all the thematic you have to touch with your job. So recovery, performance, management, mental, and you have to say, okay, here I'm good because I know everything about sleepness. I know a lot of things about ice baths. I know everything about regeneration, physiology, alimentation. Okay, I'm good. But for example, in a rehab, I need to work more maybe on the shoulder because I'm not an expert on the shoulder rehabilitation. Okay, let's go to work on shoulder. What can I find on internet about this? Let's go to PubMed. Okay, I got this kind of specialist. He writes a book about shoulder. Okay, I will buy this book. It's more around thematic for me. And to put on a paper, okay, this I'm good. This one I'm bad. I need to improve on this.
Okay, amazing advice, that's for sure. Okay, we went through all the serious stuff. I prepared for you a few quick ones, nothing too scary. So the first one would be, would you rather win a medal with France or a title of EuroLeague with Asvel?
You said gold medal or medal?
Let's say gold. So it's even harder now.
It's fucking difficult question because if I say one, I got problem with other team. So
And you have a EuroLeague season ahead of you, so watch out.
okay, so maybe for the moment, I think I'm closer to win gold medal with national teams and closer to win EuroLeague with as well. So I can say maybe gold medal with national team first.
Okay.
But
So-
that one,
We'll see where will you work tomorrow.
exactly.
Okay. Favorite junk food? What's for you the best junk food that you like?
Good pizza.
Ah, okay. That's even a typical answer now. I always expected burgers, but pizza is the most often.
That amazing.
Ah, okay. What's your all-time starting five? So the team that nobody would beat. You don't need to go by positions. You can just put 5 players that you think would be unbeatable.
I just okay. I will just talk about player I work with. Okay.
Okay.
The first guy for me, I work with Laurent Sierra. He's a French player. He was silver medal with the national team against USA in the Olympic Games in Sydney.
Okay.
So I work with him in Dijon, so I think he can be my point guard. After for the guard, maybe a guy like Norris Cole. I love this guy.
Okay.
Because of course he got a lot of titles in the NBA, so I think it can be good. After for the position 3, okay, my man David Lighty, because I work with him now 10 years in Asvel, so okay, it's effective.
Okay.
Position 4, of course, I will put Victor.
Fair enough.
It's amazing. But I want to put another guy in the same position, but maybe they can play together. Is Yabuzele. He's amazing. He's amazing. I never see a guy like this. The physical aspect, the way he feels the basketball. This guy is amazing.
Pretty good starting five. What's your favorite arena to play in when it comes to EuroLeague?
What you said, I didn't learn this. I didn't.
Arena. Favorite arena to play in.
I love Kaunas.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I love Kaunas because it's still really basketball, and that we got a lot of people. Everybody is in green, and that they know basketball. The way they react to the game, that's amazing because that people know basketball.
And what do you think about Partizan and Belgrade?
It's amazing too. Of course, I can put in the same level. It's amazing. The crowd is amazing. Yesterday, for example, in our arena, it was a no-way game.
Yeah.
All the arena closed to be support Partizan with a lot of fans. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Terrible for us, but it's amazing every time.
Yeah, I don't know if they traveled to every game, but I myself was in Bologna for Virtus against Partizan. I think there was around 2,000 Partizan fans, which is crazy. Yeah. The last question that we like to ask every guest, it's a little bit deeper one, so you can give yourself some time to answer. How would you like to be remembered one day when it's all said and done, when you gave everything in every field that you could give, job, family? What would you like people to say about Manuel?
A serious guy, a guy you can have confidence on him. He can help you. Helpful guy. Voilà, helpful guy is a good word. Yeah.
Quick and simple. Coach, thank you very much for sharing some knowledge, some experience. As Luka and Roberto would say, some nuggets. Thank you for your time, and hope to see you soon in person as well.
I hope so. Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah, thank you, Manuel. Bye.
Bye bye.